using the Samsung Galaxy S4 in 2024. Who remembers the Life Companion of 2013? I managed to score one of these Life Companions for around $60 Australian, which is pretty cheap, compared to what most modern phones sell for these days. The S4 packs a 13-megapixel rear camera, 2GB of RAM, 16GB of onboard storage, with expandable memory up to 256GB. It also runs Android 5.0.1 Lollipop, but originally shipped with Android 4.2.2 Jelly Bean. Lollipop may be very old now, but many developers still support Lollipop, meaning I will be able to run a slightly larger variety of apps and games on this phone. The S4 was also the first smartphone to ship with a 1080p display, and one of the first to feature a 5-inch screen. Most phones back then were less than 5 inches, so this was a warm and welcome change. The S4 was a minor update to its predecessor, the Galaxy S3, which was the first S-series phone to radically change its design from its predecessors. The S3 went to around its slim-like body, compared to the boxy Galaxy S1 and S2 before it. The S4 also had a smaller counterpart, the S4 Mini, which was a much smaller but cheaper version of the regular S4. The Mini had a 4.3-inch screen and an 8-megapixel rear camera. This was done to cut costs and make the phone more affordable for those who could not purchase a regular S4, due to financial restrictions, or limited income sources. The Galaxy S4 I got has seen some abuse throughout its life. The screen is heavily scratched, and the back and side are also somewhat worn out. Though this is to be expected, considering the phone's age and price. It's hard to find a fully functional S4 nowadays anyway, so I suppose I was lucky to find one in surprisingly good condition. The phone functions as intended and nothing appears to be wrong with it, minus the cosmetics looking unsightly. The S4 is still a capable phone for today. The camera on this beast is amazing for its age. It's on par with my Oppo A53, which is much newer than the Galaxy S4, but the S4 was groundbreaking for its time. The S4 is also great as a media player. The speaker is nice and loud, and it has no signs of damage. The screen is also great, the colors are very accurate, and the high resolution is great for watching HD movies and videos. It's also nice that the S4 features different UI sounds compared to the S3, and the S4's UI looks more modern, as Android Lollipop introduced the Material theme, which we all take for granted today in modern versions of Android. Material was a rapid departure from the Holo theme that was introduced with Android Honeycomb in February 2011, as it looked more flat, squared, and less skeuomorphic aspects led to an overall more modern look and feel in the Android OS, but many also preferred the older themes of previous versions. So, is the Galaxy S4 worth buying in 2024? Absolutely not, but if you're a collector, want a cheap spare phone for calls and texts, or you want to play some Angry Birds, then this phone is definitely worth it. Especially if you can find one for less than $100. There are many great ways to revive older phones and tablets, and it saves another one from biting the dust. So if you have some time to spare, why not buy yourself a Galaxy S4, and find some great ways to repurpose it. I personally use my S4 for media consumption, retro gaming, setting alarms, and I often use the camera because it is rather impressive for an old phone. So I have no qualms when buying an old phone, as I have a very creative mind when it comes to things like this. My next vintage piece is going to be a Motorola Xoom, which was one of the first ever Android tablets. It also shipped with Android Honeycomb, and I am thinking of using it as a picture frame for my photos. Do let me know if you want to see a video on how to turn your old tablet into a smart display or picture frame in the comments section below, and until next time, see you next video.